Hey everybody, this is Jason Akers again with Green Acres Pest Control. Today or whatever time zone you live in, good morning everybody. Today I'm going to talk about fleas and how you can get rid of them yourself. I'm going to try to give you the best information that you can use as a homeowner or even as a pest control technician if you're having problems getting rid of fleas. I'm here to try to give you some advice and maybe help you out. One thing that you need to understand with fleas is it takes 21 days for the cocoon to hatch out an adult flea. So you need to understand that from the time that you treat for fleas, it could take up to 21 days before you get relief, where they're eliminated. One of the biggest, I think, mistakes that pest control technicians make is instructing their customers that it can take this 21-day cycle. A lot of people will call you back in a week or 2 weeks and wonder why the fleas are still biting them or wondering why they're still picking them off their pets. And the reason this is because it does take 21 days before they die. What I usually tell people to do after you treat for fleas is vacuum the floors as often as possible. A vacuum will cause vibration and it will cause the fleas to hatch. And of course, they'll jump towards the vacuum, get sucked up, and maybe not bite you. This is a technique I use. I always instruct my customers to do 2-3 times a day. As often as you want every day. Vacuum. There's nothing wrong with vacuuming, keeping your floor clean, and so try to vacuum even your hardwood, even your tile. Fleas will get into tile floor. They'll get onto linoleum. They will get onto hardwood. The eggs will fall into the cracks of a hardwood floor. It's really typical for this to happen. They will, and they'll lay dormant there until something walks by, sends a vibration that will cause them to hatch out. And then, of course, they jump towards a change in light and get on you, and then they bite you. Then they jump off, they lay eggs, and then it starts all over again. So what you need to do is you need to do what I call a broadcast spray. Don't bomb your house. One of the most common things that people will do is they will set off a bug bomb or a fogger. Fogging, in my opinion, for fleas is just not very effective. You would have to do it every 3 or 4 days. You're going to spend a fortune in these little bug bombs, and it's just not worth the money that you put into them, and they just aren't very effective at all. So I don't advise ever using a fogger ever. They're just and it's going to put the chemical in places you don't need it, like on your countertops. You read the label and it will tell you when you come into a home after you've fogged for fleas or roaches or anything like that. It'll say, be sure to wipe off your countertops, wipe off any surfaces, televisions, monitors, anything that the chemical might have landed on, because what it does is it poofs it up into the air and then it settles down on everything. And, fleas don't live but typically ground level. There might be a few in your couch or on a chair or something where a pet might sleep. But other than that, they really aren't, very often going to be on your countertops. If you keep your countertops clean and you wipe them down and stuff from spills and things like that, you just don't have fleas there, or on your tables and places, they're just not going to be there. And so there's no reason to use a fogger. But like I was saying, what I do is a broadcast chemical application. It's difficult to find a chemical in the store that is going to be labeled in the way that, a lot of the labels for pest control technicians are a little more lenient. Of course, we're licensed, insured, and we can do some things that the customer may not, want to do or may not be able to do. So what you need to do is you need to follow your label. Always follow the label. Don't ever go against the label. If it tells you, if you do have concentrate and it says, a half an ounce or an ounce to a gallon, don't mix 2 ounces, 3 ounces, 5 ounces. I think if I mix it stronger, it's going to work and it's going to do a better job. That's not the way it works. You mix it the way the label tells you to mix it. And that way you don't poison yourself or anybody else that may come in contact with the pesticide. You want to use something that's safe, of course, for children and pets. Most of the time when I do a chemical application for fleas, you're spraying the entire floor, you're treating the carpets with a fine mist, It doesn't get so wet to run off, but it does get damp. And you don't want anyone in the house for about 3 to 4 hours after the treatment has been done, whatever the label, tells you to do. Some labels say 3 hours, some labels say 10 hours. It just depends on what your label is instructing you to do. And the reason that you need to stay out of the home for that period of time is because the chemical is drying. Once it's dry, it's typically safe to come in and walk on it and everything, kids moving around on it, dogs and cats and stuff like that. It's usually safe. But like I said, just follow your label. Make sure you're not going against your label. Normally what I would tell somebody to do when it comes to fleas is you may be better off just hiring somebody to do it. If you've got to pick up everything off your floor, if you have to pick up, you have to take stuff out from underneath your beds, put everything on top of the bed. Take stuff off the living room floor, toys, things like that, put them up off the ground, put them on beds, put them on couches, tables, chairs, get them up off the floor, because the floor is the main way you treat a house for fleas. Treat your pets. If you don't want to reinfest your house, treat your pets. Treat your yard if you don't have a pet. I have done homes for fleas where they did not have a pet, but they had fleas living in the yard, so you can do a yard treatment, kill the fleas in the yard. Make sure your grass is cut low and do a good job on your yard. And sometimes that's all it takes. You don't necessarily have to treat your home. Now, if you've infested your home, of course, you need to treat your home. Like I said, for the amount of money that you're going to spend in pesticides and effort, time, you got to consider that time is worth something to you. People just don't have the kind of budget of time as they used to. And so you just, unless you are willing to work a day's worth of labor in order to clean your house up, pick everything up off the floor. If you've got children like I do, they're virtual hurricanes. They tear everything apart. And you've got to pick up all that stuff, every week, every other week, and reapply the pesticide. And if you hire a technician to do it, usually, you've got a residual there and you only have to do it once. And then after a month, the fleas are dead and you don't have to, worry about picking everything up and taking 2 or 3 months if you try to do it yourself. The chemical is, there are pesticides out there that if you're not careful and you don't read your label, you could poison your children, you could poison your pets. You don't want to cause any harm. For the most part, a pest control technician's only going to use something in your house that's labeled by law to use in your house. They're not going to use something that's going to harm you or your pets or your kids. It's very easy to misapply pesticide. You just make sure you read your labeling and do it right. Like I said, you want to do a broadcast spray all over the floor in the entire home, and in closets, pick things up off the floor in your closets, pick things up off the floor in your bedrooms, in your kitchen, in your dining room, in every room, basements even. I had a customer one time who, she had one room in her basement where she stored a lot of just junk. She's like, I don't really want to move the stuff so you can get in that room. I don't think the fleas are in there. It should be safe. Let's just go ahead and skip that room. 3 weeks later, after the 21-day period, she was still having flea problems. She rearranged that room in the basement so I could get in there. I treated the whole house again, and she hasn't had a flea since. So, the fleas will travel. They will move. After they've hatched out of the eggs, they will move into other rooms of the house, into closet spaces. They don't just stay in one spot after they've been laid. They do move around. If an animal or a pet or a cat or something like that brings fleas into the home, the fleas will jump and move throughout the home. They don't just fall off the cat and lay there. They'll move around. So it is really important to do a very thorough job and get the entire home treated. And like I said, most people have to be gone out of the house for at least 3 hours after it's done. At least 3 hours. Most labels nowadays, they require even more than 3 hours. It just depends. So plan a trip. Go to the mall, or the mall's not really somewhere people travel anymore. I don't know. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you go to the mall. But I really appreciate all the likes and subscriptions that everybody's been giving me here lately. If you like this video, comment below. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to teach you how to get rid of. I've got a couple videos planned, bed bugs and cockroaches, but that's that's in the works. It's a lot of work going into something like that to show people how to get rid of cockroaches. So just let me know in the comments what you like to see. Go visit my webpage, greenacrespc.com. I have a Facebook page. Go like my page, Green Acres Pest Control LLC. I post pretty interesting videos and some comments there every so often. I'm local to Charlottesville and Lynchburg, Virginia. If you need a pest control technician out here, just give me a call, look me up, and y'all have a great day. I really appreciate it, and I'll be talking to you later.